Hi everybody and welcome back to Dragonite Creations. If you're new here, my name is Laurel and I love to create. And of course, one of my favorite things to create is gnomes. And I've had the idea for a while. I've wanted to make a genie gnome coming out of a lamp. It was one of those ideas I had but never really did it. Well, I finally did it. And I am so happy with how it turned out. This is my genie coming out of a lamp gnome. He is so cute. I love the bright colors and I just was so happy with how he turned out that I just couldn't stop at one genie gnome. So after I created the genie in a lamp, we also created the flying carpet genie. So we're gonna make both of them today. So we better get started. There's a lot to do. So let's get started right now. Okay, we are starting with one teapot found at the thrift store. It is missing a little knob for the handle, so we're just going to glue on this bead right now. Any color will work because we're going to paint the whole thing. And then we're going to take two 4-inch styrofoam cones, one plastic container. They come in a sleeve of 12 like those other ones found at the Dollar Tree. Okay, we're going to take a strip of green minky. This is about 14 inches long by about 2.5 inches wide. And we're going to glue on a bright pink strip of minky fabric as well. We're going to glue it good side to good side and then flip it over, folding that pink piece over onto the back side there. Then we're going to add some glue right to our plastic container here, right to the middle of our fabric. And then we're going to glue the ends of our fabric together, not attaching to the container just yet. Where we've attached it, we are going to give it a little twist and then add some glue to hold it there. Then we're going to glue that fabric right around at the top of our container, just gathering it all the way around as we glue it. So we're going to go through this pretty fast today because there's a lot to do. So now we're just going to glue that all in the center there, adding a little bead right in the center where we twisted it. Next, we're going to take a piece of purple minky and we're going to glue our bottom cone right to the middle of that, add a strip of hot glue to the top, and just gather it all the way around as you go. Then we're going to glue the side down, just making the edge look nice. Then again around the top, gathering as we go again. Gluing the center together. And then I'm going to add just a little polyfill all around the top of that, just pushing it down right near the top, just to kind of give it a little puffiness. And then we'll glue it all around the center there. Next, for the top, I am just going to kind of trace it around as I roll to get a rough idea of where to cut it, to make sure that I have enough to go all the way around my cone. So just glue your cone to this green minky and I'm just going to then roll it up nice and tight all the way around. Just hot gluing as I go. We're going to snip off the top, so we've got a flat top, so just cut off about 1/4 inch off the top. Next, I'm taking some hair foam rollers. These are pretty narrow ones I'm using today. And I'm going to cut those at about 5 inches long after I've removed the wire from the inside. And then we are going to cut a piece of fabric, also about 5 inches long. And we're going to wrap our hair foam rollers in that green minky. Not real tight. I kind of want it as a loose roll, so it's not really tight against there. So just hot glue it and roll it up, trimming off your extra. And then for trim, we are going to take a strip of pink, just hot glue down one side and tack it down, flip it over, hot glue down the other side, just so it looks nice. We are going to cut the loops off the ends of those wires that we took out of there and put them back in. So we've got about 1 inch sticking out on one end. That end, we are going to tack that fabric down around it, and then add our trim around the edge of that. The other end, we will again cut that little loop off. Same thing for the other one, stick it in there, add some glue, tack your material all around, add your trim. For the top, I'm going to take this 2.5 inch styrofoam ball that I cut in half, and we're just going to glue that directly to the top of that green one. And then I am adding a skewer to the top of that, and we're going to stick that right through. And then we're going to add some glue to the top of the purple one. Line up our seams at the back, press those together firmly, and push that skewer right through so it goes right through to both of them. And then you can just snip it off so it's nice and flush there. And then we're just going to be adding our arms right to that styrofoam ball. Next, we are cutting a beard. or just a mustache in this case. This one is about 1.5 inches wide and about 4 inches long. And now I'm just going to cut this piece of blue minky. This is for a vest, so it is just wide enough to go all the way around him. And I just cut it into a rectangle shape, rounding off my bottom corners. Now I'm adding a purple trim, adding good side to good side again, all the way around, flip it over, and we're going to tack that purple down around the back. We are now going to glue that to the top of our cone, just under where we glued our ball on there, just gathering it all the way around with some hot glue at the top, poking in where his arms are going to be. Now I'm going to glue on his mustache just to the centerpiece, letting the edges kind of hang down, parting it in the middle. We're going to add some glue now to those arms, poke those in right at the top where you want them to be, on both sides, and then we are going to make him a little belt. I'm just using a piece of blue minky for this. Like I said, we use lots of colors. I wanted lots of colors for this guy, so I just made a strip of blue by hot gluing my edges down again, and now we're going to glue that down all the way around the top of him where the two pieces meet. Next, I took a polymer clay nose that I've made previously, added some E6000 hot glue, and glued that onto him on his mustache. And now we're gluing his hat on, adding a little hot glue right to the back of the hat, and then on the front of him as well. I took that bead off because I wanted to put this feather on it first, and then we added the bead back on. Next, we are spray painting our teapot black with a primer plus paint. A few more beads. Next, this is a piece of a metal wreath that I cut off. I am now adding this white tulle. We are going to just glue the fabric together, kind of together, since it's not really fabric. As you know, it's hard to glue, but we did manage to tack it together. Now we're going to put that seam right in the middle at the back so you can't see it, as we add a piece of hot glue and start to wrap it around our wire. We're going to make sure there is wire sticking out from both ends. We don't want to cover our ends. Then we're taking some ribbon and we're going to wrap that as well, just hot gluing a piece here and there. We're going to just glue it where it can't show, and then just cut off a piece. I didn't measure any of this, but this is just really messy, guys. If you have OCD, this might drive you crazy. I'm really sorry for that. But this is where you're going to just get messy, and do it as messy as you can because it will look better if it's messy. Just adding ribbon, hot glue it where you can't see it, and then just kind of wrap that ribbon up, intertwining it in between the other ribbon, just making it all fluffy, kind of tornado looking. Next, I took this precious metal leaf finish, it's called, that I got from Dollarama actually, and I'm just going to dry brush that all over our black teapot now that it is dry. So we're just going over the detailing and all the edges, just bringing out some of the finish, just to make it look kind of cool. I went around the bottom a bit, around the top, the handle. Next, I am going to add some E6000 to our wire that is sticking out at the bottom end. This is the tighter end, and we are going to add some hot glue right into our teapot, and we're going to poke that in as tight as we can. Wrapping that wire up, I did end up flipping it over, wrapping it a little tighter. It's a little too floofy. So now just take your gnome and poke him right onto that wire, trying to get that wire to go right up into that second cone. Adding a little hot glue onto the wire so it goes right up in there, and it's nice and stuck now. Now we're going to take some pebbles. I wrapped them up just into a little mesh bag. You can wrap them up into anything, a sock or whatever you want. We just don't want them rattling around in there. And now I'm going to hot glue a little polyfill right to the bottom. Again, just in case it comes loose or something. We don't want these rattling around. Add a little hot glue to that. A little more polyfill for the top. And then I'm going to glue the lid shut. Now I'm adding a little E6000 and some hot glue to the wire that's sticking out of his arms, where we're going to poke in some polymer clay hands that I've made previously. I will leave the link in the description of how to make the nose and hands for you guys. So for the second guy, I made the top of him the same way as the first guy. So now we're just going to work on the bottom part. So again, some hair foam rollers. I'm going to cut those at about 5 inches long. And I'm going to then take some green minky fabric, and we're going to cut a strip that is just long enough to go all the way around him. And and I cut it about 2.5 inches wide. Just glue it all the way around the bottom part of the guy, just about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. And then just tack it around the bottom there, just adding hot glue. For his legs, I did take some polyfill and just added a little bit right to the center of the hair foam roller. And now I'm hot gluing that onto some fabric, just gluing the ends so that it all gathers on the ends there. To finish it off, I glue a strip of hot glue right at the back and then just wrap it around. And then once it's cooled, we're going to trim that off. So again, it's just kind of gathered on the ends mostly there, so it's kind of puffy in the middle. Trim off your ends there again. Same thing for the second guy. Add a little hot glue, gathering it on the ends as you go, rolling it up, and then finish it off with a strip of hot glue. Next, we're going to take those wires and cut off our loops, poking them up into the legs there again. Cut off the loops on both ends. Poke them right up to the end, add some hot glue. Next, we're going to work on his booties. These containers are about 1 inch long. They're really tiny containers. And I'm taking a miniature styrofoam Easter egg here. These are also 1 inch long. And I just cut it in half lengthwise. And now I'm going to glue my containers to some scrap cardboard here with my eggs right in front. And then just trim around that as close as you can. Next, I got a little distracted and decided to make him a belt, so I just cut a piece of fabric that's just wide enough to go all the way around him, and I just hot glued my edges down, and now we're going to wrap that all the way around him, just adding him a belt. I go back and forth sometimes. For his booties, I just cut this long strip of fabric that's just about 1 inch wider than the actual boot itself, and we're just going to add a strip of hot glue to the bottom of the strip and roll our boot up in it, wrapping it nice and tight all the way around. Nice strip of glue at the end to finish it off. Trim it off. Add a little hot glue right to the top of the egg there. Sorry, I got out of camera. And then add some glue right onto the inside and tack it down. Little glue right at the front where it meets up, pinch it together. Add a little bead there. Same thing, hot glue it, wrap it around, trim off the end, add a little hot glue inside so you can tack it down. Little bead at the top. Put some hot glue right inside your booty and add the leg. Nice and tight. Hot glue, add your leg. Now I'm just going to take a poking tool. This is a clay tool I use for poking. You can use whatever you need to. Again, just poke your hole where you want your legs to be. Add some hot glue onto the wire and then poke them right in there. Nice and firm. We want those to be nice and stuck there. Next, I took a wood plank. This is about 7 inches long by about 2.5 inches wide. I just got them at Dollarama. And I'm just adding some Mod Podge now, and I'm just going to glue down this blue bubble minky fabric. Just really make sure it's pressed down firmly. And then we're going to trim around that, leaving us enough room to hot glue our edges down all the way around. Just hot glue your edges all the way to the bottom. Just keep wrapping it. Next, I took this green craft rope and I cut some strips, 2 shorter ones for the ends, making sure they are longer than your ends though, because we do want quite a bit to hang over the edge. So now I'm taking my 2 shorter ones and gluing those to the ends, and I cut 2 longer ones for the long sides as well. So we'll glue those on after we glue our shorter pieces. Right here now we're going to glue on our longer ones. Then once we get those on there, we're going to add some hot glue right to the corners and press those ropes together. Just some hot glue, press them together. Hot glue, press them together all the way around on the corners. Next, I am going to take some white tulle and we are going to wrap it around a 4-inch square. Wrap it around about 3 times one way, then about 3 times the other way. I then took these glass tubes that I was going to use to prop it up with. I fought with these a lot. I ended up switching over to a plastic container. I didn't get the video of that, so just switch to one of those plastic containers we used at the beginning and it'll work way better for your base. Next, I glued my Genie to my little carpet there. Now I took some wire and I'm going to make a loop that is a little bigger than the size of our carpet. Again, some more white tulle, wrapping it around, gluing it. And we're going to make a loop basically so that it kind of wraps all the way around, gathering it, adding some glue to the center every once in a while. Just keep gathering it, gluing as you go. Basically folding it around our wire loop that we made. And then I just tied the ends together at the bottom. Again, we want this to be messy, guys. I'm sorry if it drives you crazy. We're going to now take some all different colored ribbons again. I got some pink, some blue, and some purple, and we're just going to wrap that all the way around the same way again. Just wrapping, intertwining, making it all messy. Next, take our messy cloud and we're going to attach that right onto our base and glue our carpet right onto the base there. Well, there they are. Our genies are all done. Whether you prefer a genie coming out of a lamp or a flying carpet genie, it's really up to you. And I am so grateful for all the pictures I am seeing of the creations you guys are coming up with. And it makes me so happy to know that my videos are helping you with those creations. Oh, it just makes my heart smile. So thank you guys so much for those photos. I appreciate it so much. And thank you so much for all the support from all the viewers. I couldn't do it without you, and I am so grateful for all of it. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so you don't miss any more creations. And until our next creation, love to all.